Get the keys to the kingdom. Get the keys to the kingdom.
You know, I was thinking about, as I often do, as I travel back and forth from the country to town, a couple of things come to my mind. One of the things was the power of a slave name. Power. Everybody got mad at Malcolm. Everybody was tripping on Malcolm because he called himself X. Man, why you call yourself X, man? You ain't no X, man. And nobody was listening to what he was trying to say. Malcolm was trying to say something very simple. If you keep a slave name, you're going to keep a slave mentality. That is what it was all, that's all he was really saying. You're going to always think like you're a slave as long as you keep a slave name. That's why they did it. They learned a lesson. Where they get that lesson from? How they know to get rid of the name? Passover will teach you that. I'll be back with you in a minute. Have y'all heard this lie that is primarily pushed through like the Christian church? But have y'all heard this lie that names don't matter? Have y'all heard that before? When you become conscious and you start researching the scriptures and you start realizing, like, you know, you're altering the names of the people that are in the manuscript, and then you start seeing yourself and you say, and then you try to tell somebody and say, well, you know, basically names don't matter. First of all, where did you get that from? Names don't matter. Names don't matter. Really think about that before you answer. Who actually told you that names don't matter? I guarantee you didn't get that from the Torah. And you probably, if you're a Hebrew Israelite and you're unconscious and you're still dealing with Christianity, you probably got that from a slave master who pumped that doctrine that names don't matter into your brain. They pumped it into your psyche that names don't matter because they changed your name. And by saying that names don't matter, then it stops you. Once you start believing that names don't matter, it don't mean anything. It stops you from then wanting to like research your name. Y'all was so hard on my brother Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? Now Malcolm was off when it came to the Hamashiach, so don't write me and tell me about, you know, that I'm going Muslim, but I don't even believe that the nation of Islam or whatever they call themselves, I don't even believe that they are a real bona fide Islamic group. So I'm not even going to get into that. But let me just say something about Malcolm, though, as a Hebrew Israelite that I believe was becoming more and more conscious of that fact every day. Malcolm tried to tell you something when he changed his name to Malcolm X. And he took all kind of flack from the Christians. Why would you get rid of your last name? Why would you put an X where your last name is? Why would you get rid of your last name? And Malcolm kept trying to tell people, that ain't my last name. That was a name my slave master gave to my parents. That ain't my last name. And so we talked about, you're walking around here with an X on your name and you're thinking that you're something with your X on your name. Man, now let me tell you where Malcolm came short. See, Malcolm had not yet studied Torah from the Hebrew. He may have been exposed to Torah, but he wasn't studying Torah from Hebrew. Because if he was studying Torah from Hebrew and would have been able to understand the slave trade, Atlantic slave trade through Deuteronomy 28, as well as the dispersion of the children of Israel, then there's no way that he would have just slapped an X on the back because you're not an X, just because you claim you don't know. Now, going back to that Christian lie, because I got to expose these lies for my people, that Christianity keeps pumping in people's mind. Christianity is a European religion started by Constantine. It was not what the Hamashiach left on planet Earth when he ascended in a cloud back to the right hand of the Father. All right, so quickly, you see this idea where they say, well, names don't mean nothing. That ain't what's important. The name. And again, my question is, where did you get that from? You didn't get it from the manuscript. How do I know? Well, number one, in our holy manuscript, we got a book of the Bible titled, These Are the Names. We got a book of the Bible titled Names. That's the book, Shemot. And obviously, I'm working toward Passover, so I'm studying, from the book of Shemot a lot lately. And it just dawned on me, I'm like, wow, this heathen, pagan, Christ insanity that's being pushed on our people, that names don't matter. And yet, there's a book of the Bible named Names, Shemot. And it has a shin. And those of you who know anything about Hebrew, even a small bit, you know that a shin represents like teeth. And of course it means to tear, to eat, or to consume something. And it's positive or negative. Every Hebrew word has a positive or negative charge. And so what the Most High is doing, even just by using the word Shemot, giving us a shin, is obviously we get a chance to see that something has been torn, or is separated from something, or that something is being attacked or consumed. And so when we read this book, we're going to start seeing something about the children of Israel and what they're starting to go through as a separated people through the separation process of that shin. All right, that's one. But then there's also in that word a mem, which means the motion or movement. So when you look at Shemot, the idea of a mem in the word obviously means that you're going to see what is taking place with these particular people who have been set apart. And you're going to see from the chaotic sense of what goes on, the tumultuousness of what goes on, to also some very calm. So you're going to see the movement and the motion of the children of Israel. All right, you're going to also see in that letter a vav, and a vav is where you get the idea of like a tent peg or something that is fastened. And so it sort of becomes, without trying to get too deep, like it becomes like the foundation of something. So if you get that which is foundational, or that which is fastened, and you understand that, then of course the fastening of that thing to something means something. And that's why you have a name. Think of what a name does. A name separates you from everybody else. And if you talk about, you're going to give the history of a particular people, then you got to name those people so that you can then watch those people move about, right? And then, of course, you also have in that same word, you have what's called a tav. And a tav is a mark or a sign or a covenant. And so when you look at the word Exodus from the Hebrew perspective, what you see is Shemot is Yah's chosen people that he chose and calls by name. You're going to watch their movement and how they're then connected to Yah and connected to his covenant, right? So therefore, the book is called Shemot. But the Christian, they don't know that. They have no clue. They're unconscious, especially the unconscious Hebrew Christian who still thinks that he's a Gentile. Names don't matter. Your name don't matter. Names are just a name. A name by any name is, brother, there's a whole, won't you just take the book that you call Exodus? That's what these Europeans called it. They switched the name. But the real name of that book is not Exodus, it's Shemot. So the idea is, let's watch Yah's people as they're going to be separated from everybody else unto himself. And he begins with the genealogy and he gives their name. Now, I'm going back to Malcolm. I mentioned that earlier. Malcolm didn't know that this book right here starts off with, these are the names. You don't need no X. You don't need to call yourself no Malcolm X, no David X, no nothing X. You're not an X, you got a name. And you want to know your name, the record said, now these are the names of the children of Israel. Go in that book, search through them names, find you one. Because this is who you are. You one of these. You part of the children of Israel. So that's why the Bible says in the last days what people are going to be doing, they're going to take hold to Israel. And so notice what's going on when a person becomes conscious. Oftentimes they will adopt Yisrael. They will claim it, I should say, that's a better word. They'll claim the word Yisrael as their surname, as their last name. Because they understand something. They understand it's in power in the name. So when I looked in the manuscript, I found Yoshiyahu, Dawid, right? Ben Yisrael. Just makes sense. Somebody said, well, there you go, changing your name. Now I understand what's going on with these Hebrews. Everybody changing their name. You do know that, like, Benjamin Netanyahu, who is the prime minister in our Holy Land right now, is not naturally named Netanyahu, but his name is Malachowski. Y'all know that, right? Look it up. Surname Malachowski. That was his daddy. That's his name. But he understood that if he was going to be in Israel and he was going to have a ruling power in Israel, he was going to have to go into that manuscript somewhere and find him a Hebrew name. And so what did he do? He took the name Nathan, right? And just and in Hebrew it's Netanyahu. So that's his name. And everybody calls him that, and nobody goes to him and says, I don't understand, Benjamin, why you changed your name from Malachowski to Netanyahu? Nobody does that to him. But they do it to us. We can't change our name to Ben Israel. We can't change our name. We just gotta stick with we the only people that, if a slave master, see, y'all gotta watch that Roots line. When your master gives you something, you ought to keep it. It's a gift to you. Your name is a gift from your master. You gotta wear it proud. Man, to hell with that master's name. I'm reading the manuscript, discovered, no, these are the names of the children of Yisrael. It does make a difference. Why? Because when Moshe ended up going back to the people, he was able to call out the names of the descendants of Yisrael by tribe and tribal leader. And that's how he was able to talk to them. That's how he was able to get the people to do something. Now, our captors here caught on to that and was like, in the first Egypt, one of the things that helped these people get out was they all knew who they were. So if we erase that from them, then we'll give them our own names and we'll have everybody, right, thinking that they're not connected because everybody got a last name. So real quick, have you noticed, like what most black people do, I'm gonna use that term, Hebrews do unconsciously, is that they carry their slave names with pride. And they'll have reunions. And they'll say, the Joneses are gonna be meeting at such and such, right? And then somebody say, so are you a member of the Joneses in Fresno? They say, it depends on which Jones. I'm not the Joneses that come out of the north. I'm not the ones that come out of Texas. We the ones that come out of Mississippi. Oh, okay, that's not our reunion. So what happens? Nobody shows up. Or if you show up, somebody's gonna say, where you from? And you say, well, my name is this. Or, who's your mama? Who's your dad? They're gonna try to find out, because nobody realizes we all the same people. But because they separated us from each other, then gave us different last names for every plantation, all of us think we are different people. But the truth is, we all the same people, the children of Yisrael, with the same surname. We just don't know it. Whether you're in Jamaica, South America, United States, North, South, East, West, children of Israel, Shemot, it's who we are. Don't forget that. Don't let nobody talk about you because you know that there's a meaning in the name. That's why we call him the name Yahushua. It's meaning there. And Yahuwah, there's meaning there. And the Ruach HaKodesh, it's meaning there. And your name, it has meaning. Shalom.